Hello everyone, Ellen Woodbridge here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. I would like to welcome you to the Stamp Review Crew blog hop for the 19th of June, and we are concentrating on the beautiful balloons stamp set for this blog hop. You'll be able to find the link to my blog in the description box below, and then you can go and check out everyone's amazing cards using the beautiful balloon stamp set. For my card today, I have paired the stamp set with the Wanted to Say dies. And I've created this very simply stamped card, which I'm about to show you how to make. So I am going to do the die cutting in a second, and I'm going to start with the card base. So let's just move these dies and bring in a card front of basic white cardstock. The colours we are going to be stamping with are Misty Moonlight, Pool Party and Basic Grey. I'm going to start with our Pool Party, and let's get out the streamer stamp that I am going to use, and I'm going to pop this on one of our eye blocks, a block I use a fair bit. So I just let that stamp relax on my piece of paper here, and I have just picked it up. I am going to condition the stamp a little bit with my finger, and hopefully you can see it has just gone a little bit cloudy. That is going to allow me to pick up ink evenly. So let's open our Pool Party, and I am going to do some stamping off with this. Now actually here my Pool Party is actually looking very, very inky, so I think I need to push this ink a little deeper into my ink pad. So I have a bone folder that I keep specifically for my ink. So I am just buttering down this ink pad to push the ink a little deeper into the ink pad. Now, with the absence of a baby wipe, I just have a cloth here I am going to wipe this with, and I am just going to wipe the stamp, and we're going to do a take two. So I'm glad I caught that the ink was bubbling up on the stamp. That is always a sign that the ink is too inky. So this is not bubbling up with big bubbles like our other one was. Now, when I am stamping these streamers, I just start from one corner, and this second one I pop on, I am just going to stamp off. I don't need to do a perfect job, but I do just want to show some different opacities and show that some are going to be in the forefront and some are going to be in the background. Okay, let's just go here. Now I do have, as I drop the stamp, I've just got some ink here on the block that I really truly don't want to transfer onto the project. So I think I'm happy with how far I've gone down with my full strength streamers. So now we are going to add in, I'm obviously not concentrating here, and I am getting ink all over my ink pads, or my ink blocks rather. So just stamping this off. I am going fairly lightly here, and I'm just kind of going in between, just to look as though we're looking through a whole lot of streamers in the background. I do just want to do a little bit here at the top, and I think I don't need it to be full streamers, but I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to pop this ink pad to the side, just make sure I have no ink on my hands, because that is usual for me. Now the next thing we are going to stamp is our balloon, and while I'm here I'm also going to get our balloon string and just pop both of those onto our blocks. Now I have probably picked a block that is a little too big, but it will work perfectly. And our streamer, or our string. So starting with the Misty Moonlight, I am going to pop our balloon on. Okay, so I'm going to twist this in my hand just to condition it, because these stamps are quite solid that I have chosen to use, and I do want not all that ink on the edge, which I dropped. Now I do have a condition that does mean I sometimes drop stamps and do many other things in my videos, as I am definitely demonstrating today, but I just have some patience with myself and just try and keep things neat and tidy and keep going. So this is our Misty Moonlight. Now, as you can see from the original card to the one we just stamped, it will dry back. So don't worry, it will not be quite that dark. And next I'm going to go in with, I'm going to put this here because I have a feeling I'm going to drop my ink pad on it. I'm going to go in with our basic grey string. Get rid of that scrap piece because we're not stamping over the edges with any of our other elements. Now with this string, we can choose to have the loop at the top or the loop at the bottom. So for this particular balloon, I like the loop at the top. Just going to ink this up. I prefer to turn my card, and I'm just going to stamp that down. I try to get the end of the string in the middle there. Okay, so that is all the stamping for the card, keeping it very nice and simple. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take the Wanted to Say dies, grab the two Celebrates and do some die cutting. Okay, so I could have used lots of other elements from that set on the card, but I just thought the Celebrate was the easiest to use. Now I have gone and coated my Pool Party cardstock with our adhesive sheets. So that will mean I will have a sticky Celebrate to attach to the shadow piece. So I will cut out the Celebrate first. I am going to use my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which I have all my plates here ready to go. As you can see, it is a well-used friend in my craft room. Okay, so just seeing that that will fit there perfectly, which it will. Take our top plate and just pop this through. Come on. I do find I often need to talk very, very nicely to this, and sometimes I even need to flip it around. And now it is going through perfectly. So before I remove this die, I'm going to flip everything over and I'm going to look at the back just to make sure that this adhesive and the backing paper has cut out well, which it has, thankfully. So I'm going to try, note the word try, to very carefully take off this die but leave the word celebrate in there. Now that isn't going to work, but I am going to pop it back in there just to add a little bit of blending. Now I'm going to take our Misty Moonlight. I will come back to the little celebrate. I'll grab our Misty Moonlight and create the shadow. The first time I made this card, the die just came off perfectly, but I knew the second time I made it, it wouldn't happen that way because that's Murphy's Law. Okay, so crank this through, get our shadow, close this up because I have finished die cutting. See, the shadow stayed in perfectly, just like I wanted it to. Always the way. Pop the plates over here. Now let's bring back this celebrate. I'm going to take your pick tool with the new ends on it. I am loving these ends because this little pick, I'll just show you on the back of my hand, is super fine. And it just gets into these ejection holes perfectly. And I find it doesn't leave as much of a dint in the cardstock as the other piecing tool. So that is coming out beautifully. That C is coming out. Now what I want to do, it doesn't really matter which one it goes into because they're exactly the same. So I've just pushed this celebrate back into one of those. Okay, and next we are going to take a blending brush and bring back our Pool Party ink. Now I know I've used this blending brush with another color, so I'm just going to rub it off and make sure I get off majority of the excess ink. I could use a piece of paper or my cloth that I had earlier. So I'm just going to rub this along and drop it onto my mat, which is being my theme tonight. I'm filming this at night time, but that's okay. So bring this along and we are just going to use the blending brush to add colour to the bottom portion of our celebrate. So I can see that the colour is all down the bottom and the top is just our normal colour, just to add some interest. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Love our blending brushes. I am just going to put my two dies back in my little magnetic mat. Now I can pop this back out, but before I do so, I am just going to use my pick tool again to grab out our middles. So these are the insides of the E's, the insides of the L, the inside of the B has already come out, and the A. Oh, that one just slipped out. Perfect. Just pop those to the side. So that is great. Just push out our word, and then we just need to remove the backing, and we can adhere this to the bubble. So you just want to be gentle because it is quite a delicate die cut. Okay, there we go. It's now coming out. So pop this over, and let's just grab up one of these edges here. No. Sometimes you've just got to try a couple of different places to see what you can, it is just lifting here. I did see it. There we go. So very slowly we can pull this apart. Now it does distort a little bit, and that's okay because we do have the bubble or the shadow to help us put this all back where it is meant to go. So I normally start at this end, so the end of the word, because it is the least distorted. And I just start popping it down, and I am going to go back to my tool here, and I can literally use it to start putting things back where they are meant to be. So I normally take this part quite slowly, and I can go a letter at a time. Oh, we do want to get that backing off. There we go. So see here, just letter by letter, I can get this even. Okay, so here I was kind of want to do the E and the C together. So that is about as even as I think we're going to get it. Now I am going to get actually this E here at the end can possibly just come down a little bit. So because I've basically tacked it all into place, and now I'm going to take a clean eye block and I'm going to give it a really nice push, and that is going to adhere both of those together. Come back to our card, and we're going to add dimensionals on the back of this, probably a mix of minis. Actually, I might even use some black because we are using the darker cardstock. The blacks will go really quite well, where the whites would definitely, if you looked at the right angle, you could definitely see them. But with the black dimensionals, you are not going to see them on the angle, and they're going to blend in much nicer with these. So I've just put on 4. With this card, I have just left the C, but what we can do is just cut a tiny slither just from the edge here. Now I think I should just need that much, and that should be just enough to keep that very delicate C up. I didn't do it on the first one, and it seems to be sitting quite fine.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we didn't need series interjection, but happy for the advice. Just bend this a little bit this way and then just take our backings off. So this is definitely something I would take to my kids' sport to do while I'm sitting there watching. It's karate in our household. I would create all of these celebrates. I'd have them die cut and then pop them together, or sometimes I even take my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to the dojo and I create there, and all the mums and some of the dads love to see what I am creating. So I just pop the create and make sure that the string is connected to the create. So the balloon's coming up from the create, then we've got the background of the streamers, and we are going to put this on a pool party card base. We are going to add a little bit of shimmer to finish the card with our loose silver sequins. Let's pop these out of the way, give us a little bit of room. Bring in some of our multi-purpose glue. This is my favorite for adhering, and I do just use a number of dots, and that does give me plenty of wiggle room to get that nice and even. So very happy with that. Now I'm going to put in 5 of our loose silver sequins. So just around the word celebrate, where there is a little bit of white space, but because these are translucent, they will add a shimmer and a shine without adding too much bulk. So I'm just putting the dots where I would like my glue. Then I'm going to take your pick tool where I have the putty end, and I am going to pick up my sequins and just drop them on my dots of glue. So, and everything is just going to try and grab one of the tiny ones here and just drop that there and get a nice big one here and slide it under. I think that's upside down. Let's try that again. I think it's still upside down. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to slide this under the T and the E, or the A and the T rather, and then just add one of our mid-size ones. Actually, I don't think I got a mid-size, but that is fine, and just add that one there, and that finishes the card. Simple, but we do have some beautiful die cutting using the adhesive sheets, which makes our adhesion nice and simple with such an intricate die. And we've used the shadow to accentuate. Some very simple stamping and stamping off in our background, and using the loose silver sequins just for a little bit of bling. So I hope you enjoyed this card. Please go ahead and follow the blog cop and leave us some love in the comments. We love hearing how much you love the Stamp Review Crew projects, and I will be back with the next video very soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.